Alright, I left you off with a pretty well finished stand, but I realized that one thing that you might want to know is how to add text to an object or add text to some object that you have in Fusion 360 on maybe any plane. Um, so what we can do here is the last two operations we did was, fillet those surfaces. So we have a couple options. We can either undo the fillets like this and just be left with our default object, or we can leave our fillets and we can only delete the fillet that we want to delete to begin operating on the rest of the feature. So we'll go with the second one, and we'll just delete that feature, leave the other fillet, so that the inside of our sphere is nice and neat. And we'll take a look at our front plane here. And I haven't described why we've been using the front plane yet. The front plane, if you're using a Bamboo Lab printer, if you save this mesh off, import it into Bamboo Lab, this will sit right on the face of your print bed without having to change anything in this orientation. But that only applies to this object that you're working on. Imagine that the base of your object is down here. So this would be your print bed, and everything we're building up from here comes up. So that'll take a little bit of time to get used to, the transition from operating, in digital 3D space to your actual 3D printer. So let's go back to this front view here. And actually, you know what? Let's tilt the camera down a little bit, like towards this bottom view. And maybe if you needed to, just click that bottom view. Because what we're going to do is we're going to grab this face here. And all we do is click it to select it. And we're gonna click extrude. And we want to extrude this guy down 10 millimeters. And just to confirm, again, middle mouse click, shift middle mouse click. Let's just make sure. So we drew it down 10 millimeters. Sure enough. I don't know if that's enough. Maybe we come down like 15. I don't know. Maybe 13. Let's do 13. I'm feeling unlucky. 13. At this point, we can go ahead and reset our fillet. Honestly, we can grab these the edges of this octagon that we had a fillet on earlier. We'll just grab them. Make sure we push our fillet button up here. I use the hotkey. The hotkey is F on your keyboard, or Foxtrot on your keyboard while you're in this view. And remember, we can just grab this guy and drag it in. Let's drag it into 5 millimeters, which is what we had the first time around. Click OK. All right, so now we have this nice little shape with a tab coming out of it. So we can grab this little edge here, this vertex here, and we can go to the Modify selection and go to chamfer. Now, chamfer is something that we haven't looked at yet. We've only looked at fillet, and by default, this is going to be set to equal distance. So you'll see one little arrow come up, but for this operation, let's go with 2 distant. And what that means is it allows us to draw in how far we want the fillet to go in either direction, right? Like, so we can choose this to be this way and this to be this guy. And see, we can unlock those two. So I can bring this fillet all the way up to the edge of or not fillet, I can bring this chamfer all the way up to the edge of our fillets. And now I can drag this guy down to some reasonable distance. Well, let's leave a little bit of material down here. We don't want to drag it all the way down. All the way down like this usually causes problems when you're talking about FDM printing. This little corner here will end up picking up off of the print bed. This corner right here. Sorry, the highlighter just showed up. And it ends up being kind of difficult to print. So what I like to do is leave us a little bit of material down here. Something like that. And now we have something that looks like maybe a watch face. This would be where the band would connect. You would have another one on the other side, but in this case, this is just a stand for display. We don't have that. So we'll click OK here. And now we want to add our text. So we can create a sketch, and now it's waiting for us to click a face that it wants us to create the sketch on. We can actually choose this face here, this flat face that we just created. So now we're creating a sketch on this piece of little plastic here, eventually plastic that'll be printed out, and we can create text. And so we'll just select this, select a little rectangle here, just like you're choosing a text box in, PowerPoint or Word or anything like that, making a little text box. You click once to start, and it kind of has some snaps to some geometries here. So we'll just choose one of the common geometries it recommends, and another click will start it. Sample text is in there. Let's set obsidian as our text. In this case, the height that we have selected is 3.5 millimeters. It's bold. We didn't have to really change anything for this to just work out for us here. We don't have to alter anything. So that this just worked. But if it's too big, say like this was set to 4, you see there it's clearly that's not going to work. Or even 4.0. That's something more reasonable. That's still not going to work. So let's go with our 3.5 that we had here, and that seems to fit pretty well. And we'll just make sure to center it up using the common text tools based on the little rectangle that we put it in earlier. All right, so let's click OK here. We'll commit this guy. Looks good to me. We'll go ahead and finish this sketch. Now here comes a part that's going to get a little bit convoluted, or not convoluted, but it's going to create a lot of new bodies, and it doesn't seem like we should create the new bodies, but there's rhyme and reason behind the 3D modeling software and why it does what it does. So let's take a look here. We can select our obsidian text, and we can go up here to modify. We can go to create and extrude, the normal operation that we've been doing every time that we want to create some new 3D object. In this case, we want to extrude this guy, but we want to extrude it inside of our other object by 1 millimeter. Reasonable enough. There's optimizations that can be done for 3D prints later on, but since this is set at an angle, the depth of it being a millimeter is really inconsequential in the global scheme of things. But we want to be sure that the operation we take is not to cut, but we would like to create a new body. For each one of those characters, including the dots of the eyes, we create a new body. This is important because the new body is required in order to inform the 3D printer that we would like this to be set to a different color text. In another video, I will show us exporting this and importing it into the Bamboo Studio and setting colors for each one of these things that we would like to 3D print. But for now, let's do the new body. We'll click OK. Now, as you notice, under our bodies list, we now have the sphere, the stand, and we have body 3 through 12. Well, just like in Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, anything like that, you can choose body 3, hold down Shift, and you can choose body 12, and it highlights the entire group. Again, with renaming, we just click again, don't hold Shift or Control, anything like that, just click again on body 12, and you can rename, and we'll call this Obsidian Text. And it renames each one of those objects to be the Obsidian Text. So now we know all of our bodies that are related to each of its relevance in this 3D model, right? We have our sphere, the stand, and each letter, and even the eye or the dots of the eyes as text. So now that we're at this point, this is a really good point for us to export this body and import it into Bamboo Studio. And I think we'll do that in the next video. This one's getting kind of long. All right, see you in the next video.